We have returned for a concluding segment only for the day, not for the future. There will be more on this. Brad's, I will say it's a seminal work, The Corporate Cannibal Cookbook, The Empire is Consuming Us, something that he said earlier was essential after almost 70 years of your life not exactly coming out the way you wanted it to be, and not seeing our collective culture, society, this country, the world changing enough to satisfy you. So you came up with some more radical ideas based on radical honesty, based on telling the truth. And we haven't used the L word too much, love, but I know underneath it all is your love for living things, for children. You know, we've all made mistakes in our lives, and probably most of them have come out of not loving enough and not being unified enough. So I want to reiterate that part of who you are, and probably why I love you, and why we've been speaking together either on the phone or now in person for some 15 years.
Thanks.
Yeah, I want to say that. So as much as the other 6 segments, if you've gotten through them, have frightened you or created anxiety or a little bit more fear, that's not the intention here. It's really to assist in the wake up and activate you.
They scare you a little bit. It'd be all right.
It'd be all right. Well, you know. Look, this is the fear system of management and control and slavery has been what has created the docile sheep-like activities of most human beings.
Exactly.
You're saying, well, let the fear wake them up, and then we'll give you a plan.
Yeah, and what I need to elaborate a little bit, it's not just my capability for love we're talking about. We're talking about human beings' capability for love, that we have this capacity to care.
Yeah.
And that it has been growing. Again, that book, The Empathic Civilization by Jeremy Rifkin, is a brilliant book where he talks that there is an entropy that's built up while we've become more communicative with each other, that we've been becoming more empathic as civilization unfolds, and that electricity helped with that, and that with the internet and telegraph and telephone and all the other things that came, television, all came to help us identify more with each other on a larger and larger and wider scale. And that while empathy progressed, entropy also built up because we poisoned the environment, we destroyed a lot of the world, and that the race between empathy and entropy is neck and neck right now, and that's why I'm writing this book.
Can you explain entropy as it relates to that? Because I'm not sure I have the right definition. I think it's about things falling apart, but...
It's about a back drag. Like, you get the benefit of empathy, but at the same time you're smoking up the skies and ruining the environment and changing the weather and overpopulating the earth and making all these machines that keep pumping more poisonous gases into the world. And at the same time, you're progressing toward people getting to travel more and meet each other more and know about each other more and learn more about each other and all that stuff. So there's a race on between the forces of entropy that are about to destroy us and the forces of empathy, which are about to have us love each other. And I've often thought that maybe empathy will win out by a day or two, and everybody will say, oh, I see, reality is just love, and I love reality, and reality loves me, and that stuff, we don't have to worry about all this other stuff, I see. And then somebody else a day or so later pushes the button, and boom, it's all gone.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes good drama. And a twist at the very end of any story.
Right.
All right. So, couple of things, and anything you want to do in summary, but I want to say that I like what you just said, because we know we're evolving, maybe very slowly, and evolution sometimes looks like a spiral, but just we keep circling around, and it seems like we're chasing our tail, but we are moving slowly, but maybe too slow. In context of what's going on. That is too slow in awakening to our true nature.
The whole last chapter of this book, The Corporate Cannibal Cookbook, is about speed, whether we're doing things fast enough, how slow we are, whether we can afford to luxuriously take so long to be enlightened.
Yeah.
And most of the answers are no, we can't afford this. Yeah. We can't afford the amount of time it takes to do this. What are we going to do?
Yeah. Well, at great risk to my own, I won't even use belief systems, but because they go out the window too here, what do I really know, direct knowing? But lately, a lot of information has come to me about Earth changes and the cycles that you've heard of. The Mayan calendar in 2012 is 5,000-year cycles. Then you've got these big cycles like 26,000 plus or minus years. And all of this is related to astronomy and astrology. So we know things are happening to this Earth, to the solar system, as it relates to orbits around the central sun and the Milky Way galaxy. And a lot of people have talked about this. And what it's doing is bringing us up into electromagnetic fields that are designed to evolve us, and that we get choices. We get choices as human beings how we want to react to these. And, and a lot of prophecies have been telling about this. There's the Hopi prophecy. It might be 500 years old. There's other indigenous, the Aboriginal people in Australia have been looking at us and saying, you're going to make a mess of this before it gets right, particularly with the technology. So 2 thoughts about this, and I'm going to turn it over to you. One is a lot of the technology could be very helpful if we use it the right way. It's been used to control, and it's hurt the environment. But there are bigger things going on around the evolution of our planet and us as human beings, and that we have a choice now. We can choose separation, polarization, wars, or we can choose love and truth. And there will be a reckoning, and I'm not going to use heaven and hell or anything like that, but there will be a reckoning, and people who choose to stay in their hearts will move through these times in the best way. And if we can create a collective of love and truth that's greater, I think we'll go through the apocalyptic times or changing times with less pain and suffering. So what would you add to that or say about that?
Well, I reckon.
I like that, Brad. I reckon.
I reckon that's okay. I don't hold much to any of that more mythological kind of stuff. I believe that there is evidence for a kind of an evolution toward what I was talking about, toward empathy, and toward, at the same time, toward this sort of greed-dominated, consume the world, and then after it's all gone, we'll just drop dead. Nature has a way of taking care of things. And if some particular parasite devours its host, the parasite dies because there's no host left. And we're a parasite, and the earth is our host, and all of our fellow creatures are also parasites on the earth, and we're killing off our fellow parasites, and we're consuming the earth. If we do, then nature just sort of shuffles us off, and then the world will start over again some way. It's not of any particular concern to reality whether or not we preserve our little idea about our little teeny-weeny humanity.
Well, our ego persona, as a psychologist would say.
Right. And so I'm happy to participate with evolution. And I'm happy to hear all kinds of speculations and theories about it, but I don't much hold to the magical thinking about 2012 or any other stuff. It may happen sooner than that, or it may happen later on. But the thing is that the Earth is improving and going to hell at the same time.
Well, and you're issuing a wake-up call for people to be responsible and loving and truthful, and if they're not, suffer the consequences.
Right.
And this is for another discussion, maybe even tomorrow. We'll have this discussion about what happens when one group chooses to continue the war and the violence and the hard polarization, and another large number of people say, no, I'm going for the love, the truth machine. I like what Brad Blanton said, so we have a group going for that. Not everybody's going to agree. That's another point of conversation for the future.
Okay. But I've been reckoning about that some too.
Okay, well, that might show up in writing or a conversation with us or a new TV series. Who knows?
All right.
Well, let me thank you for doing this with me, with our audience. I know we're going to, whatever the cockles are, we're going to raise the cockles of some people, and we're going to inspire others. And I suggest that you read the book, here it is right here, I'll show it again, The Corporate Cannibal Cookbook. And I must confess I've been in a lot of the parts of it, but there's more for me to read and more to be done around this, and it's just the beginning.
Thanks.